Hey, good evening, everybody. It's good to have you with me tonight, with us. As you can clearly tell, I am not in my studio in LA. I didn't rearrange and redesign like this. I am actually about 2,000 miles away from my studio in LA. I had a family emergency that pulled me away, and so we had to kind of punt a little bit on tonight's show. We were supposed to bring you Karma Auger live this evening, and that was our plan a week ago. But family takes priority sometimes, and I'm happy to be with my family right now during a time that had been somewhat of a crisis, but I'm happy to report that things are looking much, much better as of a couple of hours ago. So I wanted to let those of you that knew that I was out of town dealing with this know that things are looking better. Thank you, though, so much for joining us. I know that it's not quite normal for us to do this, and you've all been so kind to me throughout the past several days, those of you that have known about the situation. Hey, Jay, it's good to see you, man. Yeah, everything's going to be all right. I am here live with you from my hotel room, so I'll be able to respond and take some questions and chat a little bit with you at the end of the show. Thank you to everybody who is joining us again, and I'm excited to show you tonight's episode. Yeah, it's a rerun from last season, but it's a rerun for a reason. Bonnie Gordon was spectacular last year, and we love Bonnie to death. She's just one of my favorite people, and I think you're going to really enjoy this episode and this interview. If you hadn't seen it before, kick back and relax. It's about 35 or 40 minutes of a really great fun time, and I'll see you on the other side of it. Okay, so stick around, and we'll have a little chat at the end. Thanks again for joining us tonight. Next week, we will be back live with Karma Auger from LA, not here in Mississippi. I'm actually in Mississippi right now. So my family's all here. It's been a heck of a weekend. I look forward to seeing you again next week. But for now, let's roll with Bonnie and enjoy this. Welcome to Groove Diner After Dark. Tonight is kind of a cool night for me because I've been working with tonight's guest for a couple of months now, right? On her new album that's upcoming. We're going to talk about that here in a few minutes. But I conned her into being my guest tonight. Thank you. You'll know why we're laughing at that in a minute. I conned her into being my guest tonight, so I'm really glad to have her with me. And we're going to talk about an exciting, exceptional career that you may not have heard of. People call me the invisible rock star. She's the invisible star.
Aww,
but we're about to make her less invisible for sure. So, well, please help me welcome Bonnie Gordon.
Confetti and t-shirt gun.
All of that. The t-shirt gun. That'd be such a cool thing to do, like at the Staples Center.
Yeah, or just like right here.
I know.
Like right at your guest.
I don't know if I can handle that.
I don't think. Maybe workshop that.
Yeah, we can,
when I'm not here.
Yes, seriously. Wow. Well, thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you
really
for having
appreciate
me.
it. Yeah, of course. We have been recording today.
I know.
Working on your record. Why don't we start there? Let's start
Okay.
with talking about your record. Tell everybody. Tell me, because I'm producing it. I'm not playing drums on it. I'm producing her record, which has been really fun. So tell us a little bit about the album. Tell me where it came from, etc.
Sure.
etc.
So a lot of people know me musically for like in the comedy nerd parody scene because I'm in a band there, and then I also sing with a couple bands around LA. I do a lot of like classic rock and pop,
Right.
but this album has always been about kind of like getting back to my roots of what makes me me.
Mm-hmm.
I was born and raised in Louisiana, so I love blues and jazz,
Right.
and I think like blues and jazz is like the most. I love the way it sounds on my voice. I love the way it feels.
Absolutely.
And it's just the most. I have the most fun singing it. It's the most free, in my opinion.
Right.
And so I wanted to go that route. And I have so much original music that I've just been sitting on for years. And so it's just kind of time with COVID happening and so many people finding joy in like other people's art and like helping it get by. I was like, you know what? Like, I think it's time for people to actually hear that I can write music that's not about, The Hobbit or,
Right.
Or like a comic book. So it was just kind of even though I digress, I mean, it's still slightly nerdy. And considering my album is all about what makes me me, it is kind of nerdy.
Well, that's the great part of it.
Yeah.
That's ultimately why you wanted to work with me.
It's why you've conned me here, because the title of the album is Con Artist.
Exactly.
which is one of the title songs of the album. And, it's all about like being in love with a criminal, Bonnie and Clyde, very like, ooh, yeah, he's a quick John son of a gun. But I'm actually speaking about an artist at Comic-Con, an Artist Alley. But honestly, you wouldn't know unless I told you the twist.
Well, in fact, I didn't know.
Yeah, most people who hear it don't know that it's about a Comic-Con artist.
No way.
They think I'm singing about a criminal, and they're like, "Oh, Bonnie, that's so dark." And I'm like, "Listen to it again."
It's dark, but it's not. I mean, musically, it's so strong. I'm really enjoying this record a lot. The originals are all incredibly strong. One thing about it that I'm curious about, though, is how you chose the cover songs that are on it, because there are, what, 3 covers?
There's I think there's 4 or 5, depending on my mechanical licensing powers. Right. Let's see how much they cost me first. But
you don't have to give away too much, but
no, it's fine. Okay. I mean, I've given it away. I've given most of the tracks away on like the Kickstarter and stuff. So if you were a part of the Kickstarter or go to BackerKit, you too can be a part of the journey.
Yeah.
Okay. So I wanted to do cover songs that were reflective of me, and again, made me who I am.
Of course.
So I picked songs of different types of fandoms that were important to me. For example, The Princess Bride is my favorite movie of all time and book. And I chose to do a duet of Storybook Love from The Princess Bride. Of course. I'm doing a song from the Muppets. I'm doing Kermit's It's Not Easy Being Green.
It's so cool the way you're doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it kind of changing up a little bit. But then I also... it was hard because I really wanted to do Rainbow Connection, but I know it's so overdone. I kind of wanted to do something a little different.
Right.
I'm doing a Star Trek medley, since Star Trek's such a big part of my life. Indeed. And I wanted to represent my Trekkies out there.
Absolutely. Are they Trekkies or Trekkers?
Trekkies.
I'm hearing the Trekkers
Get out.
thing.
No.
What's the difference?
Yours is wrong.
Oh, fair enough. Hey, I'm good with that. I've always considered myself a Trekkie, so I heard Trekker and I'm like,
Trekkie.
Okay.
A Trekker just sounds like you're gonna go like, on a drive.
I'm with you. Absolutely.
Down and like you just can't pronounce the words right, but it's fine. I do love animation and cartoons and whatnot as well, and being a redhead with certain assets,
right,
and gifts,
right.
I get a lot of like Jessica Rabbit
of
references,
course.
so I'm doing the song from Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Jessica Rabbit song, Why Don't You Do Right. So there's just a lot of fun songs on there that like anyone can really listen to and enjoy. Right. And then the originals, some of them are more serious, some of them are more kind of fun, tongue-in-cheek. I have a song about ADHD, considering that if you can hear my rambling and my leg in the camera twitching, I have it. So it's kind of like my ode to ADHD, like 4 letters of evil.
You know what I like is that none of it's not random in any way. Every song has a very specific purpose and the reason behind it. I love knowing those reasons behind them.
Yeah.
So I think, if people do pick this album up, and they should, and you should. Whoever we're looking, whether it's me or her.
We're both looking.
We're
looking. Where do I look? Buy the album.
Buy the album. Yeah. You're definitely going to need it. We're looking at midsummer.
Yeah,
release?
Beginning midsummer release.
Yeah,
hoping
June-ish, July.
Yeah. You're the producer.
I guess I am.
Tell me.
Yeah, there is that. We're looking at a summertime release.
Good job. Yeah.
So definitely we'll make sure you're gonna have physical CDs.
Yes.
As well as
it'll be up on all kinds of like Bandcamp, iTunes. I'll try and put it everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, very cool.
You get a con. You get a con.
Yeah,
you
right?
get a con.
Oh man, that's so funny. You mentioned the cover bands, the Library Bards. You guys had some success.
Yeah. So one of my really good friends, Xander Jeanneret, he and I were both huge nerds,
right?
Obviously, and we started a band called the Library Bards, and we travel all over the world to different Comic-Cons and nerd pop culture events. And we do parodies. So, it's very much in the vein of Weird Al.
Of course.
But it's all nerdy. So we have songs about Star Wars, Star Trek,
hey.
Stanley.
There's nothing nerdy about Star Wars.
No, of course not. Of course not. Of course not. No. That's no moon. But no, The Hobbit, Princess Bride, Power Rangers, Sailor Moon. I mean, we have songs about everything. Jurassic Park, you name it, we sing about it. Sure. Firefly. So any kind of nerdy fandom that we can.
You have a Firefly?
Yeah, we have a Firefly. It's just Sticks Come Sail Away.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. That's fantastic, right? Yeah, even Eli liked that one.
Yeah, like, all right. One of us. He
totally is one of us.
And that's what's so fun is, I got to, we would have songs that I would like, oh, my voice sounds good on this song. We need to figure out what to parody. And then we would write something to it. Or we'd be like, oh, we really need to figure out a song for this fandom. And then we'd like, be out, for like a friend's birthday at a bar or something. And then our song would come on the radio and we would both have like that light bulb moment of,
right.
Right. And so that's how we kind of got started.
That.
And we get to travel all over the world and sing for nerds. I mean, what more can you want?
So great.
We have music videos up on YouTube.
Right.
And, it's so much fun. And being in Hollywood, and being in entertainment, it's like you're never quite sure what Hollywood's looking for or what they want. If you're like the right look, the right size, the right this, the right that, yada yada. Right. So for us, it was more of a, okay, if you're not going to cast us anything, we're going to create our own stuff. So that's kind of how the Library Bards came to be. Let's create our own nerd stuff.
Fantastic. Yeah. And if you can't tell, she's genuinely a nerd lover. and quite honestly,
that sounds, wait a minute.
No, well,
phrasing.
She came in to do some background vocals on a different project that I was producing, and we just clicked. Yeah. Really quickly.
It's why I chose you to record my album. I walked in and saw the Death Star and the X-wings hanging on the walls, and I was just kind of like, I mean, and like the purple, and then the wall, it looks like a spaceship. So I was just kind of like, well, I'm gonna record here, obviously. Exactly. Obviously, this is where I want my booth selfies to be in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a highly creative environment.
It is. It's fun and free. And for those of you who don't know, working with Buddy is so great because working with you, working with Buddy, you is so great because you're very like relaxed about it, and the way we're working, it's not like, okay, go. Okay, oh, you don't get that take, sorry. No. We'll work with what we got. It's like you really want me to be happy with the product.
I absolutely do.
Yeah, it's great, and there's not a lot of pressure.
No.
So.
No. Well, thank you for saying
as someone who's always like feeling guilty for no reason, thank you. I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm apologizing.
What is this going on?
I'm sorry for apologizing. Oh no.
Oh, well, on that note, speaking of high pressure situations, I went through your IMDb page. 67 credits. That's a lot of work. 67 acting credits, and the bulk of them are voiceovers,
awesome.
voice actor
cool.
stuff.
I should probably look at my.
Well, yeah,
I'm like, wait, really?
I had no idea.
I had no idea either. I didn't know. I mean, like, I think maybe some are multiple though.
This was 67 individual show credits. Yeah. Plus the episodes underneath. So I'm saying,
okay. Well, then, yay me.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
I was fascinated by a couple of things that I read. I want to know the story of your grandfather and Band of Brothers.
Oh yeah. So my grandfather, I called him Sweet Papa.
Oh, I love that.
But he's known as Walter Scott Gordon.
Okay.
Smokey, and they called him that. And he was in the Band of Brothers. He was in Easy Company.
Like the real one.
Mm-hmm. In fact, someone played him in the miniseries.
Don't actor, blow that off. Actually,
Ben Kaplan.
Okay.
Yeah. But what's so amazing is he was a really big part of the book. Like if you read the Band of Brothers book, he's definitely more in there, and it's just so cool flipping through the pictures and like knowing that that's my grandfather. Like holding, like just in the picture. They called him Smokey because he would smoke a pipe.
Nice.
There's so many funny stories. He was quite like a prankster and like a trickster. He would always get into trouble. I know there's
that's where you get it.
Probably. I mean, and I'm one of the grandchildren that actually remembers him because he was still alive when I was young.
Gotcha.
So he would pull pranks on me all the time, and so it's just really sweet. Like I don't know, obviously. If you believe in things past the norm, right. But there was one time where just like for fun I had like a psychic reading. I was just like why not? Yeah. And it really hit me. The guy had like no idea who I was, right. And he was like, I keep seeing Smokey, like Smokey the Bear, and I was like, what? And he was like, this probably doesn't make any sense because how he says he sees things in like pictures when he sees visions and stuff. And he says, Smokey's looking after you. And he says, you have to be brave like Smokey. And he was like, I have no idea what that means. And I'm like, I do. And I was like, whoa, it was crazy.
Oh my gosh.
So that's always stuck with me. So anytime I'm like feeling like scared or just like uncertain, I'm going to be brave like Smokey. Like my sweet papa. Yeah.
That's incredible. Mm-hmm. Wow. How does a girl from Louisiana
Woo-wee.
Yeah, she's my neighbor.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm your bayou neighbor.
Yeah, right. How does a girl from Mississippi decide she wants to move to Hollywood and take it on and, my goodness, have some serious success?
Well, Louisiana, first off. You
What
said
did I say?
Mississippi.
My
just now.
apologies, yeah.
That's okay.
Louisiana.
The other state. Your
Indeed,
other
yes,
neighbor.
yes, sorry. My bad.
It's okay.
So how does a girl from Louisiana make the big move to California?
It wasn't just right away.
Yeah.
I always knew I wanted to be in entertainment in some way.
Sure.
Didn't know how I was going to get there.
Well, you're one of the most entertaining people
Well,
I've ever
thank
met.
you.
Absolutely.
Oh, shucks.
Just hanging out.
Just give me like a coffee and I'm good to go.
Right.
Woohoo!
Oh my God. I
Yeah.
think that's a
I can
bad
talk for
idea.
hours.
Right.
Yeah. How long is the show? Are we gonna
4.5 hours.
Great,
Yeah, we're
perfect.
good.
All right, all right. This is in chapter 1. Genesis, a star was born.
Yes.
So in Louisiana, I did like the community theater. You know, I was a theater major. I was
Right.
an opera minor in college, and loved anything music and anything
Right.
theater and anything performing. Like just like let me make people laugh, let me
Sure.
make you smile, let me bring you joy.
Right.
And when Hurricane Katrina hit, that was kind of like I could leave, you
It
know,
really changed
because
things.
I auditioned for NYU. I got into NYU. I got into other
Sure.
colleges that were really prestigious theater schools,
Sure.
but couldn't afford it. And one of my things was like, I'm not gonna rack up student debt. I just don't, or student loans. And but when Katrina hit, I was still in Louisiana, and I was like, this is my time to go. It was just kind of like the state was gonna have to rebuild. They were pulling scholarships from the arts and from schools everywhere, and I was like, this might be my exit cue to like, this is the push out of the nest.
Sure.
And I ended up going to Florida because that's logical, and I worked for Disney at Disney World,
Okay, well,
and that was fun.
yeah.
Yeah, it was so much fun. And I was like young. I didn't know. I was like, I'm in a theme park. This is
What did
great.
you
And I'm
do?
just a big kid anyway.
Oh,
So
no kidding,
I mean,
yeah.
you know, I was gonna be there anyway. Might as well get paid to be there.
Absolutely.
And then got cast in a show outside of Disney. They transferred me to the Vegas cast. So Tony and Tina's Wedding. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. It's
Well,
like
only because you and I've talked about
yeah,
it. Yeah.
it's a dinner theater show.
Right.
Super fun, interactive. There was a cast of it in New York City.
Right.
There's casts everywhere
Right.
of it. It's one of the most. It's like the longest running dinner theater show, I think, in the Guinness World Records. I don't know.
No
Don't
kidding.
quote me on that. Please
Wow.
don't research this. Maybe it used to be. I don't know. Something in the records of a book of a Guinness. Drink Guinness.
There it is,
it,
right, yeah, we're good.
sponsor us,
Okay, yeah.
Guinness. Is this how it works? Is
Yeah,
this how
so-
it snowballs?
So now immediately we have that Guinness
yeah.
sponsorship.
So you're welcome.
Yeah, right.
This
Thank you. I
is how
appreciate
it
that.
works.
I could use the money.
In any case, it's a long running dinner show,
Yeah,
and I
right.
was in the Vegas cast, so I did shows in Vegas. Was in Star Trek: The Experience. I'd sang with like 3 or 4 bands out there,
Right.
and then after living in Vegas for a little bit, I'm like, okay, now what? You know, and you don't really know. Vegas is one of those amazing places to visit. It's a hard place to live.
Yeah, I couldn't even.
Kind of sucks your soul.
Couldn't even imagine living there.
And I mean, I look young, but Vegas ages you. I would probably look my actual age if I stayed in Vegas.
You all haggard.
Yeah, I'd be like, hello.
Hi, I'm 28.
I'm 36 years old. You should have seen back in the day when I was 26. Yeah. Sorry. Then I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go. So I was just
Yeah.
like, I'm just going to pack up my car and move to Hollywood.
not?
Because why not?
Yeah.
And that's kind of like how I lived my adult life, which is not great in
Wouldn't
the sense
recommend it?
of it's not recommended. I'm sure, you know, I basically give my family a heart attack every
Of
time I
course.
just pack up my car and be like, where are you going to stay? I don't know. What are you going to work? I don't know. Like,
Right.
just, yeah. So I just do it.
But that's what it takes, though.
That's what it
I mean,
takes.
you have to have that commitment level, and
You have
it's
to have that
amazing that you
drive
did.
and that slight level of insanity
Just
to
a touch.
make the jump.
Just the right enough,
Yeah.
right amount to do that. That's I think that's
The
fantastic.
hustle.
That's
the
kind of how I ended
Hollywood
up out here
hustle.
too. Was
Yeah.
you know, you just make the decision and you pack and you go.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you're going to talk yourself out of it because there's 1,000 reasons not to make the move.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, but you got to find that one reason to make it, and your belief in yourself clearly was that.
My self-confidence is an optical illusion, but I will say this. One of the things that really got me was in high school, I had an amazing drama theater teacher,
Right.
Ms. Broussard. Sandra Broussard, if you're watching, I love you.
Hello, Sandra.
Hi, Sandra.
Shout out to Sandra.
Sandra Broussard. I can't call her Sandra. I have to call her Miss
Miss
Broussard.
Broussard,
Like
of
it's
course, yeah.
it's so awkward.
Yeah.
She's like, call me Sandra. I'm like, no,
No,
you're
no.
Miss Broussard forever.
Yep.
But
Glenn Mena was that for me, and I could
Yep.
never call him Glenn.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely.
So she was very inspiring to me. And I remember after Katrina happened and I had the opportunity to intern at Disney and do all these things, I called her because I was, upset because my dad did not want me to go. No one wanted me to go. They were like,
go, of course.
Stay home and go stay in school and
Of
stay in
course.
school, kids. Don't do what I did. Oh gosh, this is a horrible interview. Can you fix this in post? I'm like giving
Yeah,
the
sure.
worst
Yeah.
advice. Is there a post?
How about this? I stayed in school.
Okay, do what Buddy did. Do the Buddy. WWBD. What would Buddy do? Buddy would stay in school.
But it could be WWBD. What would Bonnie do?
And that's
totally different.
All chaotic good.
Right. So
Then it just becomes like D&D game where
Of
we're all
course,
in a
yes,
tavern
yes,
and you don't
yes.
want to go there, or you do.
maybe you do.
But speaking of ADHD, where were we? Oh, Ms. Broussard. Hi,
Yes,
Ms.
Ms.
Broussard. I called her and I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, I don't know what I should do. And she goes, when I was your age, I had a path to take of whether to like take that leap and try
Yep.
and pursue acting or pursue the arts. And instead I, settled down,
Right.
got married, had kids, became a teacher. She goes, I don't regret any of that. Obviously she loved her
Of course,
family and,
yeah.
and all that. But she goes, there's always in the back of your mind that what if,
Mm-hmm.
and she goes, I don't want you to look back 20 years from now and say, what if
Absolutely.
I went a different route? And so that really kind of spoke to me.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, school will always be there. Classes will always be there. You can go back to school at any age.
That's right.
But when are you going to have this opportunity to just fly? Like she kind of gave me that
I love Miss
push.
Broussard.
Ms. Broussard's the best. Yeah.
That's
She's
fantastic advice.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's too many people don't ever really explore the what if.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's an incredibly important thing.
Yeah. And when it makes you so happy, it's like, why punish yourself?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Like I love my family and I love
course.
Louisiana,
Of course.
and I could always go back home
Mhm.
and be with them, but I know that there would be a lack of fulfillment
Absolutely.
in my soul, and there would be something missing.
Right.
Yeah.
Boy, do I understand that.
Yeah.
You know, it's really hard when you leave a place though, because people that you leave behind sometimes feel like you're leaving them.
Right.
It's
Right.
not about moving forward in your own life. It's that you're doing something
Right.
that maybe they don't understand or don't agree with even. So how did you explain to your family, or were they?
Well, they still don't understand half
well,
the time. Yeah.
Nor does mine. Right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I mean, some of my family
Some
do,
do, yeah,
and
some
yeah,
do.
yeah. But most of my family still don't understand.
Yeah.
They're still just like, "What are you doing out there?"
Yeah,
And,
oh,
like,
for
I don't
sure.
understand it. Yeah.
Well, you tell them that you've got 67 IMDb credits.
Oh, to them that means nothing.
Well,
But
so here's what
that equals $67 in their
Fair
eyes,
enough.
and they're like, "Can you pay rent with that?" I'm like, "No," but I'm working on it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, okay, so you've got a really great gig right now
yeah.
on Star Trek Prodigy.
Yeah, my Trekkies. Trekkies.
I just
Yeah,
was
I know.
asking. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. So Star Trek Prodigy is,
Amazing.
I'm sure.
Oh, you wanted more.
I did.
Star Trek Prodigy is one of the new Star Trek shows that are out. It's on Paramount Plus.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, didn't want to give it a chance at first because it's considered a kid show because it's
Right.
animation.
Right.
But I promise you, like, just give it a couple episodes and you're gonna be blown away. It's not just a good, kid show. It's
Right.
not just a good show. It's a good Trek. It's really good Star Trek.
Nice.
And it has so many good Easter eggs for people who actually really love Star Trek.
Oh,
I mean,
that's
Janeway's in it. There's so many different cameos and
Right.
and things coming up. And then also, it's great for people who've never watched Star Trek at all because it's for kids who've never been exposed to Star Trek,
Right.
and they're learning with these young characters about Starfleet and about the Federation and about working together as a team and about like peace and throughout the galaxy and exploration and science, and it's a very intelligent show. It doesn't dumb it down
Love that.
for the children. And in fact, I almost wish they would, because half the time I'm like, what science? Like, this is a lot. This like there's like a time one, like, and I was
Oh,
like,
no kidding.
whoa, like, they're all in different like time planes, and I was like, kids
Right.
are gonna be like, what? But the fact that they don't dumb it down
Yeah.
makes it so much more special, and parents can watch it with their kids and
Sure.
get conversations going.
Talk
and
about it together.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and you learn lessons, and they have like a little video of Kate Mulgrew at the end
Oh, that's
saying like, this is the lesson that we've learned, most specifically on Q times with the stream punks.
Okay.
And it's been such not only an escape for us, but escape for other people that were just stuck at home during a pandemic. It's like every week tuning in and being with friends
Absolutely.
and watching your friends play and being part of a community and interacting with each other on the internet, like on Twitter. And
Right.
it's the stream punks, the people who watch our stuff, they're just probably one of the most amazing supportive groups of people.
fantastic.
And so accepting of everyone.
Yeah.
Where like that's kind of like a big thing about my brand. I'm very anti-bully,
Right.
kind of acceptance of all, really big into the LGBTQIA
Right.
plus community. And I can't stand people who like don't accept others like
Right.
for who they are, for something as minimal as, obviously with everything in the world there's like different hate,
Of
but
course,
like
yeah.
just accept everyone. Like love is love, and everyone just
I'm so
have
on
fun and
board with
be-
you on that. Absolutely.
like, especially at a gaming table where it's just you're just there to have fun
Absolutely.
and go on an adventure together, and everyone gets to go on it with us.
Well, your open
so.
personality is very much who you are. So,
Yes.
so I mean, you are this incredibly open human.
I'm a very open book.
are.
Sometimes too much so.
No, I don't think so.
Not to you. Some people find it uncomfortable.
Fair enough.
Good job,
Thanks.
buddy. You're
Yeah.
one of the
You know what?
you're
though?
one of the good ones.
You may not know this about me, but I'm quite an introvert.
Really?
Yeah, but I'm a social introvert. So I learned it was learned behavior for me to know how to interact with people, and then I can be at the NAMM show or whatever Comic Con and be great for 3 hours, and then I need to go sleep for 6 hours
Yeah.
to
Then
recharge.
you need to recharge. Yeah.
So somebody like you, I feed off your energy.
Yeah, and I feed off of a lot
vampire?
as well. You're an energy vampire.
Yeah, right.
Way to
Okay,
go.
yeah,
Yeah.
thanks, yeah.
That's
It's not quite the same thing, is it?
No, but you'd fit right in on what we do in the shadows.
There you go. See, yeah, right.
Go hang out with Colin.
I should
Although
do that.
his energy sucking is a little different.
Fair enough.
That sounded dirty too.
But we know what you're talking about.
Sure.
The legendary pot roast.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about that.
So again, I said earlier I sing with a few bands out here, and one of the bands I sing with is the legendary Pot Roast. It is a Meatloaf Jim Steinman tribute band.
Awesome.
Such an incredible group of people. And these past few years, even during COVID, we were still doing gigs. Like we did a couple gigs in like New York and Jersey, and we just did one a couple weeks ago in Agora Hills, and we have a few coming up later this year.
That was at the Canyon Club? Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
That's a great
it's
venue.
a great
Yeah.
venue. And it's just such a great group of people. Honestly, the musicians in that band are just so talented and so strong. In fact, a few of them are playing on my album
Right, they
because
are, yeah.
I was just kind of like, how convenient.
Yeah,
Come with
seriously.
me to this, buddy.
Good players, for sure.
Yeah. And they're also just good people too.
Yeah.
It's good energy. So performing with them is just, I find so much joy. I love performing in general.
Sure.
And so being on a stage with people that also share in that joy, and like we can just look at each other and interact, and
Yeah.
if one of us makes a mistake, we just look at each other and go, keep going. We just have a good time.
Right.
And everyone, they're just a good group of people.
Non-musicians don't know just how much communication goes on between musicians on a stage.
Mm-hmm.
It's staggering. We can have full conversations.
Speaking of staggering, I've fallen on band members. We did a gig in New York last year, and I was we do choreography in it,
Sure.
and I'm backing up, like doing a cute little thing, and the monitor magically moved, obviously.
Of course,
since
yes, it
the
was not there.
rehearsal,
Yeah,
and it was
absolutely.
not there
No.
during tech. Of course not. And I just completely fell backwards
Right.
into the guitar player, knocked him over, knocked the music
I love
over.
that.
Poor thing, he was helping me up. I just got back up and kept going.
That's what you have
So
to do.
a lot of people in the audience thought it was a bit. They thought it was like a comedy bit because it was during like the Rocky Horror
Yeah, right.
like medley. So they all thought it was like, wow, that was such a funny
That's
little bit.
awesome.
And I was like,
Yes,
as I'm
yes, it
limping
was.
away,
Yes, it was very
probably
funny.
bleeding from somewhere. I'm like, yes, it was such a great bit. Can't wait to
That's
to
awesome.
bandage myself backstage.
That's awesome.
Oh boy.
I have a question
clumsy.
that I'd like to know.
Yeah.
So many people, again, who are not necessarily in the entertainment industry,
Mm-hmm.
don't understand how related all of the facets of entertainment are. Acting relates to music, relates to.
Definitely.
How has being a musician impacted your acting, and how has your acting impacted your musicianship?
Oh man, I actually have a really good answer for this because
Well, it's about time.
yeah, I'm sorry. It's just been ramble this,
I
ramble
know.
that. Now I have
Finally,
focus.
we have an answer.
Focus. Because I do voiceovers.
Right.
Being a musician and a singer has been instrumental to that career. knowing your instrument, knowing your voice. You know, if I'm doing like little kids and stuff, I'm going way up here and I gotta do all this kind of thing, but it's very melodic and I gotta go up and down. So it's like doing, you know, it's like singing.
Sure.
So, and because I do so many voices, it helps me with my tone, helps me finding, making sure I'm not straining, making sure I'm breathing correctly. I do a lot of video games, so I do a lot of fighting games. I'm going to move away from the mic. But like if I do like a lot of like, ha, 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 ah, you know, and I can do stuff like that without hurting my voice because as a singer, I know like to push from here and not scream from there.
Sure. So a lot of technique comes from
comes from that I've used in music.
Yeah.
And in anime, we're doing a lot of dubbing where it's already, the animation's already done. The Japanese voice has already been recorded in English. And so everything's already done. They have the line for us and we have the animation.
Sure.
And we have to match the flap of the lips.
Right.
And that we have to also make it sound natural.
Right.
As natural as we can,
Right.
and fit it all in, and it's like a rhythm game because we're matching of the, you know,
Right.
so we have to say the line within a certain amount of time.
Right.
So we have to focus on speed, focus on the beats, and it's like music.
It's like when I was doing Foley art.
Exactly.
Same kind of
It's like
thing.
Foley. Yeah.
My son's a big anime fan.
Oh yeah.
Big anime fan. So I need to know at least one anime that I can tell him you're on.
Oh yeah. One that came out not too long ago. It's Miho and oh gosh, it's a weird names. It's the Supernatural Bureau Investigation.
Okay.
Miho and Roji.
Okay.
And Miho's
Roshi and Miho.
super. It's like they're like wizards and like witches
nice.
and they know magic and they have to go and like get spirits like
Right.
exercise spirits and put them back into the afterworld. It's really cool.
I
It's
love
actually,
it, actually,
it's
yeah.
a really cool anime.
Yeah.
I actually did voices on it and I was like, this is actually really cool. And I went and watched it when it
Right.
came out. I was like, this is fun.
This is awesome. Yeah, absolutely.
It's like dark Harry Potter. Yeah.
Well, Harry Potter's pretty dark anyway.
That's true. But
Yeah, but not in the beginning
no.
at
Yeah.
all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of all things magic, you work at the Magic Castle.
I do.
What do you do at the Magic Castle?
I can't say
I
what
know
I do
you
at the
can't
Magic
do- I
Castle.
know you
It's a
can't.
secret.
It is.
I do many things there though. I can talk about other things.
Let's talk about the other things.
So the Magic Castle, for those of you who don't know, the
Yes.
Magic Castle is a magicians members only club in Hollywood. It's amazing, very fun place.
It's so fun.
It's so cool. It's been, the building itself is over 100 years old. So I'm very lucky because not only am I an employee there, but I'm also a member and a performer. So I perform with a few magicians there when they need. Every week the shows change. So anytime you go throughout the year, you're going to see different magicians
Right.
and different shows.
And as a sidebar, she and I are sitting in the same room today because of a magician from
That's
the Magic
right.
Castle, Brian Oshap.
Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, she came in to sing on his project, and here we are,
Ta-da.
several months later.
Do-do-do-do-do.
Indeed. So
Yeah.
continue.
But yeah, so one thing I do at the Magic Castle that's extremely fun is during Christmas time, during the holiday season, I'm their Mrs. Claus.
You're right.
Yeah, so I'm dressed up as an elder. I don't want to say old lady. That's so derogatory. But no, and I'm Carol Claus, which is basically me just doing Carol Channing, dear. And I walk around with Santa. We hand out the candy canes and we talk to everyone, and it's wonderful. And everyone always asks my skin regime. So I'm
course they do.
I'm 1/3 elf, dear. And there's a doctor in Beverly Hills.
Excellent.
Santa may be old, but he's not dead, dear. I gotta look nice, you know. So yeah, it's a really fun job to like talk to people. And,
Yeah, sure.
oh, you'll like this. It's a music joke. A lot of people when they talk to Santa and Mrs. Claus, they think they're being clever and say, "Oh, I'm on the naughty list," and
Of
you know
course,
all
yes.
that. And I'm like, "Oh, they're like I haven't heard that before.
Right.
You're on all kinds of lists."
Oh, your name's Buddy. I call my friends Buddy. Ha ha. Your name's Buddy. Ha ha.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just throw
Anyway,
an egg.
You were saying.
No, it's fine. So a lot of people are like, "Oh, I'm on the naughty list. Like, am I getting coal in my stocking?"
Oh yes.
First off, everyone, coal is a natural resource and it's very expensive now. We can't afford coal. That what do we expect to heat our lamps with and stuff?
Right.
However, all the naughty children get Nickelback CDs. So you're
That's
welcome.
cruel.
I know, but it's funny. And none of the kids, I say that joke to the kids, like, what if we get it for naughty? And I say Nickelback City, and the kids just look at me like with a blank stare. But the parents behind
Of
them are
course.
cracking up, and I'm just like, you know what I'm talking.
'Cause they
That-
neither know
It's not even a
CDs.
punishment for you, dear. It's a punishment for them. Yeah, because
They don't know Nickelback, nor do
No.
they know CDs.
exactly.
Yeah,
They're like,
right.
what is that?
Yeah, that's
Look at
hysterical.
this photograph.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
goodness.
Mrs. Claus is fun.
That's
So that's
really
one of
good.
the jobs I do there. I love that place.
That's fantastic.
I sing a lot for their special events,
Mm-hmm.
their charity events, the AMA awards.
Right.
This past year I sang for their In Memoriam. So little things like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure those were little.
Well, but
Yes.
I've kind of I've forced my way into becoming a
You
staple
did, and
there,
you're
I love
extremely
them.
good at that, and I mean that in a good way. You took you have got that thing where you are really good at saying, I'm good at this thing, I'm going to go do it, and everybody else get out of my way. But you're like super.
But in a nice way.
Yeah, it's true. That's
Yeah.
kind of what I was about to say. Is that
In a
you-
Hufflepuff way.
That's kind of true. You definitely are not pushing people aside to do it, but
They can come
you've-
with me.
You've got laser focus on
Oh,
it,
yeah.
and that's what I love is that laser focus. Because a question I always ask is if you were to give somebody, a little girl, say in Louisiana,
Aw.
some advice about coming out here and trying to get into the world of entertainment, what would the one thing be that you would say? It has to be one thing, because I know it's hard. We've got 1,000 things we could say.
Yeah, I
what
could make a
one
scroll.
thing would you
Okay.
tell them?
Well, funny you should say that. One of the songs on my album
Mm-hmm.
is basically that. It's a song I wrote to my younger self, of like watching my journey of just, I was an odd kid. I was bullied a lot. I was weird looking, weird acting.
Well, you
and
grew out of that.
well, yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
But no, I just like seeing the journey that I've taken here. If I could just have someone go back and say this to me, it would probably help just enough. And the words is you're enough. Like, because everyone feels in their life, especially in this industry with imposter syndrome
Yeah.
building, that I'm not talented enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not talented enough. And it builds and builds and builds, and you go down this shame spiral.
Yes.
And as a child, you get even more of that because you're trying to find yourself, and you're so insecure, and you're trying to channel your energy and where to go, what to do, how, everything's so uncertain. And if I just had someone saying like, you're enough, just be you. And that's, I think, what people need to remember. Like, I try and always stay true to myself because growing up, I didn't like myself very much.
Sure.
I didn't know how to turn myself off though, and that was
right.
the problem.
Right.
And then as I got to love myself more, I was able to put more positive energy out there and like show the world, oh no, like I'm worth watching, I'm worth listening to,
Sure.
and I belong here, type of thing.
Right.
And that was a long thing to say to get to you're enough, but that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah. I think that's incredibly good advice, and more than advice, maybe it's just a reassurance.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of us that are artistically minded people
Mm-hmm.
don't really know where our place is when we live in a place that perhaps doesn't embrace it.
Right.
And certainly my hometown, as much as I love some people there,
Yeah.
it wasn't necessarily the most conducive to an artistic minded little boy.
Right.
So I'm sure that was the case for you.
Yeah, and it's because when you're when you have like friends or family that they like that you like it, but they don't understand it, they
Absolutely.
don't get it. They're
Yep.
like, why do you keep doing this? Like you're in rehearsal all the time. You do
Right.
this. You're like you work like 5 jobs and you do
Right.
that. Like why do you do this?
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that when they do come to see me on stage, or when they see me, in something like this, like an interview like this,
Sure.
seeing me light up when I talk about it
Absolutely.
and what I love,
Yeah.
that it starts to make sense to them. Like that's why she does it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah. And some of my family don't.
I'd like to thank Bonnie for letting us use her interview from last season. Again, that was a really great time for us. Obviously, with me being on the road, things are a little more challenging technically than we're accustomed to. But we wanted to bring you as much of that interview as we could tonight. Thank you again for everybody joining us. I'll be back in LA next week, and we will be live with Karma Auger. I'm really, really looking forward to having the opportunity to show you guys that particular episode. It's going to be an awful lot of fun. I think you're going to really enjoy it and get to know Karma and learn an awful lot about some pretty cool stuff. Bonnie's entire interview, if you'd like to see the remainder of it, is available on our YouTube channel at Groove Diner After Dark. So YouTube at Groove Diner After Dark. You can catch the rest of this interview, see the whole thing again if you'd like, and see a few other episodes from seasons 2 and even last week's from season 3 is, I think it's available already. But take a look at those, and we'll definitely be back next week. If you have any thoughts or questions, please don't hesitate to hit us up. You can catch us on all the social media sites, of course, everything that you can think of, except, of course, for TikTok, which is under my name. Everything else is under Groove Diner After Dark. If you are on TikTok, follow me. Hey, that sounds like fun. Follow me on TikTok at Buddy Gibbons. Otherwise, at Groove Diner After Dark for all of the other social media pages. And I'd like to thank tonight Eli and Dan for helping me through this somewhat more challenging task of broadcasting. It's been a fun night just to get to relive a little bit of my chat with Bonnie last year. Thanks, Bonnie, again for everything. And if you have any questions, etc., please don't hesitate. Okay, so let me know what's going on,